In this video, I'll deconstruct the 30-second sequence of shots from the film Dunkirk. Dunkirk is a war film written and directed by Christopher Nolan. It has Hotma as a DP. It's a story about the evacuation of Dunkirk. The film has the largest marine unit in film history, and is Nolan's shortest film with only 76 pages of script. It's quite non-verbal and highly visually. In order to create suspense, Nolan divided the proceeds of the evacuation into 3 timelines to tell. The mall, 1 week. The sea, 1 day. And the air, 1 hour. In the middle of the mall story, the soldier and his companion's ships were blown up by the German Air Force, so they escaped onto a beach and hid into a stranded ship, hoping the ship could float when the sea rise high. Unfortunately, Germans were using this ship to practice their shooting skills. The bullets made holes on the ship and seawater came in. If they don't lose weight, the ship won't float. On the other side, anyone who goes out might get killed. Due to these factors, the domestic problems among soldiers became tougher. In this case, I analyzed from 4 aspects: camera, lighting, sound, and set design to see how visual meanings and emotional influences were constructed.
No, I'm going home. If this is the price. I'll live with it. It's wrong. Go on! One man's not going to make enough difference. You best hope it does, because you give it on to them next. What? We're regimental brothers, mate. It's just the way it is.
Let's focus on the camera first. The first shot in this sequence is a close shot of Tommy's pitted face. The angle of the camera is a little bit overlooked above Alex's shoulder, and we can tell from the scene there's almost no gap between Alex and Tommy. By doing so, the frame in this shot could build a sense of anxiety. In this following shot of Alex, the angle of the camera is lower, and he takes up almost 60 to 80% of the whole frame, still pushing Tommy out. Besides, there are many soldiers unfocused behind Alex, but Tommy is on his own. In all of the Tommy and Alex single and reverse shots, the frameworks are similar while they are arguing. This part of the sequence illustrates the situation of the 2 characters. Alex is in a stronger position while Tommy is weak and helpless. In the middle shot of the Frenchman, he takes up half of the frame, and we can see he's extremely terrified and can't fight back. There are ropes, ladders, and himself on the left side of the frame, but they crowded together. On the other hand, there's only one fist of a soldier on the right side. Seems less powerful, but to the Frenchman's POV, the fist is aggressive, so he attaches himself to the ladders instead of stepping a little bit forward. By allocating the proportion of a picture like this, people can easily tell how nervous the French soldier is, and also start to worry about him. In another shot of the French soldier and others, he is at gunpoint and only takes up about 40% of the whole frame. Then he is pushed to one side with only approximately 30% left. This shot gives the audience a feeling of being in the ship, standing behind a soldier with the gun. From this point of view, audience will be pulled into the scene rapidly and focus their attention on the way where the gun points to. Then, the weakness of the French soldiers seems to be magnified. After this shot comes a close shot with only Tommy's focused face. The shallow depth of field shows Tommy is isolated. He is in the middle of the frame and the camera angle is planned. We can feel further pressure from here because there's more space on both sides of Tommy. Turns to Alex and other soldiers, still seems to be mean and aggressive. There are at least 4 soldiers in one picture and one of them has a gun. But compared to those shots that Tommy and the Frenchman are surrounded by others before and later, the other soldiers seem to be more nervous than Tommy does. In the following shot of Tommy's face, the camera comes closer to him. Zooming is often used as a tip of something's gonna happen, so we can tell he isn't concentrating through his eyes because he has noticed that the alarm is about to ring. In the next sequence, we can see that Alex is talking to Tommy, but the camera moves to the left of where the Frenchman stands. This is a synopsis of the following event. The Frenchman takes actions to pull the gun while the alarm rings. If we see through the sequence from Tommy's single shot on the face to the end, we may not feel peace, because although soldiers seem more common than before, they're still calculating each side. In the whole 30-second sequence, the camera maintains shaking while soldiers are arguing. That creates a sense of unstable and unpredictable, which perfectly suits the intense situation among soldiers. And when conflicts are strong or soldiers start fighting, the camera becomes more shaky to match the condition. Let's move on to lighting and set design. In this sequence, the top of the ladder leads to the air seems to be the only source of light, which probably links to the meaning of the only way out. However, the ladder appears in almost all the shots in the 30-second sequence, which means it is quite crucial. In wide shots of everyone, the ladder is always in the middle of the frame. In shots of Alex and other soldiers, it takes up about 80 to 90% of the whole frame. Even though it is unfocused, we can't ignore its existence. What is more, in the shot of most soldiers, we can see that most of them are in the shadow, which probably means they are not doing the right thing and they are showing the dark side of their humanity. The same concept can be used on a French soldier. His face is always half bright and half dark in this sequence, which illustrates that he'd done something bad to survive as well. No one is clean during the war. Another interesting element I've found is that in every shot of the Frenchman, there's a rope behind him. This could be a metaphor for the following event. He is trapped by the rope and drowned by the sea water. As I said before, the only light from the ladder can be linked to the concept survive. Therefore, every soldier from the back is trying to approach the light area, which could be meaningful. When Alex is arguing with Tommy, he comes from the shadow and ends with a hard light on his face, while the light on Tommy's face is softer, so we can tell who is more aggressive. Vice versa, later on, when Tommy's observing the alarm, and when the Frenchman pulls the gun, he becomes the most aggressive person. The light on his face turns to be the hardest. Finally, we can have a look at sound. Time is the enemy more than anything else. This is Nolan's saying. He wants to remind the customer this key point, so the whole film is fulfilled with music. These pieces of music were created based on the sound of a pocket watch. Engine, and something like that. He also wants to make the events as intense as possible. Therefore, the combination with sound effect, picture, and music must be well prepared. In the sequence, a piece of long and nervous music maintains. This is the music which based on the engine. Associated with the sound of water and iron materials, people can feel like something is going to happen by listening to it. When we are focusing on the dialogue, we sometimes forget about the music and the water, but the mixed soundtrack creates a sense of annoying for us. The scrambled sounds of water, items, and music can influence the mood of the audience virtually, and help them to feel the emotions of those characters. It seems these sounds are interrupting each other when the dialogue goes on, but they can perfectly describe the feelings of characters as nervous, chaos, unstable, and insane to some extent. So the soundtrack is of vital importance, which helps to drag the audience in. It is quite smart by using sound of the alarm to break the balance of the other sounds when conflict breaks out. When the audience is concentrating on their stalemate and their emotions are rendered to a critical point, they need to be surprised by something outside which could draw their attention to next action, just like the feelings of the soldiers in the ship. As we can see, despite only 30-second sequence could contain a large number of information and metaphors, and all these techniques are usually used in all range of films. In the end, thank you for watching my video, I say.
Until, in God's good time, the new world with all its power and might steps forth to the rescue and the liberation of the old.